Hey everybody, welcome back to the Play Reaction, this impromptu live stream reaction of the fact that Dirk Koetter is returning for the 2018 season. Rick Stroud just tweeted it out. I felt like I had to get things together and had to talk about it with you guys. And I'm going to wait for a few of you to trickle into the chat room here because I really want this to be a conversation. I want you guys to give me your reactions. I want you guys to tell me your feelings on it, and I'll start things off by telling my feelings on it. But let me do some tweeting first, make sure that people know that we're live here, and just to let you know, if this is your first time watching, you're probably watching on the replay at this point. I'm Corey Draper, and this channel was first dedicated to being a typical NFL general, helpful, more produced videos kind of channel, which you can still see some of those older videos that I did at the beginning of the season here on the channel. I recommend you check them out. There should be more like those in the future. I just have gone through a lot of life change recently, moving. I'm in a completely new place. I feel like I'm in a new place every week. But anyway, make sure you subscribe, and especially if you're a Bucs fan, we're gonna be talking more about the Bucs. But guys, I want to know what you think about the news that Koetter's staying, which I think surprised all of us. It surprised me, definitely, especially with all the groomers going around, and the fact that the Bucs only have 4 wins on the season, and it's been so disappointing. I think we all expected Koetter to be fired, and the Glazers, who never announce anything during the seasons, I don't know if they told Rick or if he just got wind of it, that the Glazers have let Koetter know that, hey, he has their confidence and he's returning next season, which maybe means that Gruden said no. Maybe. Maybe it means that Koetter sat down with the owners and said, hey, I'm going to make this, and this change. And that means, you know, we still can preserve this, and maybe they just felt confident in him. I don't know what happened. Sexy Silvers, you already say, you know, no Gruden, this sucks. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did get a little bit excited at the notion of Gruden coming back. I never wanted him fired in the first place. Back in 2008, I was adamant about him not being fired, and I felt like I was in the minority then. But I was excited about change happening, and I think we all were. But I think it's important to note that in Tampa, we are used to just firing the head coach and that suddenly solving all of our problems, and that has not worked at all with Raheem Morris, with Lovie Smith, with Greg Schiano, and we are having this constant turnover, and we're not having stability. If you have tuned into my live streams in the past, which, by the way, I try to do a live stream after every Bucs game, I mentioned that if I am the owners, I take a look at Koetter, the head coach, and not the play caller. And Koetter, as a head coach, hasn't been horrible. He's made his rookie mistakes and his game management and stuff, but a lot of the knocks on Koetter have been his play calling. And so what I want to see now that Koetter is definitely coming back as head coach, I want to see him give up play calling. I want him to completely and 100% dedicate himself to being the head coach of this football team. And that means managing the whole team, not just the offense, and not just concentrating on play calling during the game, and then hiring an offensive coordinator that he trusts, whether it's Todd Monken or somebody else, and just managing the team well. Because what you can see, and even though people are saying, you know, Koetter sucks and all this stuff, the team has not given up. The team has fought hard. This team has a very small loss margin recently because this team is fighting. And if you notice, and again, I said this in past videos, that with Raheem Morris, with Lovie Smith, with Greg Schiano, all of them had something in common, and it's that the team gave up on them. The team gave up when the tough got going, and they haven't given up yet. So, by the way, this is saying that my stream health isn't that great, so let me know if you cannot hear me or if you cannot see me, and I'll try to adjust things here. Maybe the Wi-Fi will be a little bit better, but this can be good news, this can be bad news, depending on what your opinion of Koetter is, but as a head coach, I do firmly believe that he has run this team as a head coach well. It's just his play calling and his game planning and his in-game adjustments have been bad. So if he gets another coordinator, if it's Todd Monken or somebody else to manage this game, but from a play calling standpoint, to make good in-game adjustments and to actually do the things that he was not doing so great at, then this can be a good thing. Also, I want to see Mike Smith gone. This defense, yes, they have come along a little bit recently, but Mike Smith's refusal to make in-game adjustments and Mike Smith's inability to adjust and adapt in-game has really killed this team, and the lack of pass rush. Perhaps we need to see Hayes, the defensive line coach, let go. There's a lot of personnel changes that I think we might see coming up, and that might be a positive of Koetter staying. We don't know what happened in his meeting with the Glazers there, but I am wondering if Koetter made his case and said, hey, we are making these changes under me with all the coordinators and assistant coaches that, we'll see what happens. Now, what will be interesting to see is watch how this team plays someday. Watch how this team reacts knowing that their head coach is coming back. I am going to venture a guess and say that we have a really good chance at beating the Saints. And that's not just because the team's going to be excited that Dirk Koetter's back. It's not just because they're going to be energized by this news. But the Saints have already locked things in pretty much, and they're not going to have very much to play for. And the Bucs are going to have nothing to lose. And so add to the fact that they know that their coach is coming back, I guarantee you these players are excited, and I guarantee you they're going to go all out on Sunday. Not to mention that we're fully healthy aside from the guys that were already put on IR. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments about this. One thing I will say about Gruden is, man, it was exciting, the prospect of him coming back. But remember that is another wholesale change. That is another complete regime change, different play calling. If you guys remember when Gruden was last here, his playbook was super complicated. And not that Jameis can't learn that playbook, but it usually takes a year or two for a quarterback to really know a new system well enough. And so even with bringing Gruden back, it probably would have set us back a couple of years. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have been competitive immediately, because, I mean, you look at the Rams situation with Sean McVay, they are doing great, with a brand new coach and a brand new system. So just throwing that in there, just a little bit of a silver lining. So I know a lot of you are disappointed, but I do see the positives in this. And I will say again, if you saw my last videos, Dirk Koetter has not shown to me as a head coach that he deserved to be fired. And I think the Glazers are seeing that too. What I want to see now, though, is changes in play calling and changes in assistant coaches and perhaps, hopefully, a change in defensive coordinator. And another thing that may happen here is that with the keeping of Dirk Koetter, I feel like this almost guarantees that Jason Licht is returning. I could be wrong here. Maybe the Glazers are thinking that Dirk Koetter is not to blame and that Jason Licht is to blame. I don't know. We'll see over the next week or so. Jay, you say, I'm not happy, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I just hope we get rid of Mike Smith. Hey, my sentiments exactly, Jay. I'm not happy, but I'm not sad about it. I on one side, I well up with pride that the Glazers are not yet again firing another head coach, because I really recognize that it's never that simple, right? It's just never that simple. We as fans always shove the blame on the guy who's at the top, but we forget about the guys who are at the very tip top, which are the Glazers. And I think seeing heads roll is what gives us fans hope, seeing accountability, so it gives us fans hope. So let's see who Koetter keeps on his staff and who he doesn't. If he keeps everybody on this staff, yeah, I'm going to be hesitant. I'm going to be a little scared, because coaching this year has not been great, and that's on the offensive side and defensive side. So things have to change. We do want to see change as fans, and it's not going to come at the head coach position. So it's got to come, like you said, Mike Smith, and perhaps some of the positional coaches. Saxy, you say Jason is the best. I agree. I'm a unapologetic Jason Licht apologist. I really think he has built this team to have the most talent it has had since Rich McKay was the GM of this franchise. And a lot of people boost Rich McKay up as the best GM ever, which he was. I mean, he drafted the best players in the history of this franchise, aside from like Leroy Selman, you know, like the other two Hall of Famers we have, a couple other people are going to be Hall of Famers. Rich McKay was great in his talent evaluation. He was horrible at cap management. So Jason Licht, I feel like, is not maybe, no, well, the jury's still out as far as talent evaluation, but I think he's been very good so far, and along with Mike Greenberg, the cap management has been amazing. So especially when it comes to these next couple of years where we got to re-sign guys like Mike Evans and Jameis Winston, and so there's a lot that goes into this as a team, guys, and it doesn't all fall on the head coach. So if you take anything from this, I want you to take that from it, is that there is still hope with Koetter returning, even if you were not a Koetter fan. He, as a head coach, all he has to do is keep this team together, keep this team fighting, and keep this team believing that they are better than how they've been playing. And that has been what Koetter has done this year. And that is the difference between him and Raheem Morris and Greg Schiano and Lovie Smith. So take that into account when you're considering whether this is good news or bad news. Now, let's see after Sunday what heads roll. We'll see. Give up play calling. Fire Mike Smith, bring in a better and a more ambitious and up-and-coming defensive coordinator that turns this defense around. Let's supplement our pass rush and our pass blocking through free agency and the draft, and let's get at it, because this team, and I said this in past videos, this season has been the season of Murphy's Law. Everything that has gone wrong went wrong. And if you follow the NFL at all, you know that the difference between a 4-12 season and a 12-4 season is literally like just some bad bounces of the ball. And I really truly believe that this team has had just some of the worst luck of the entire NFL, starting with Hurricane Irma taking out our bye week. I really truly believe that this season was an anomaly, and that this team has the talent to be good enough to get to the playoffs. I think they showed it the year before. I think we just need to add some pass rush and bolster the offensive line a little bit, and Jameis Winston has looked amazing this year. So I will leave it at that. If you're watching this on replay, let me know in the comments. Vent your frustrations. Do you completely disagree with me? Let me know. I'm happy that we just finally have a little shade of the future, and that we know a little bit what's going on in the offseason. And there's probably going to be more to come. So again, make sure you subscribe, and I will try to do a live stream after the game on Sunday. Since it was flexed to 4 p.m., I don't know if I'll be able to do a live stream. We'll see. I'll try my best, but if not, then hopefully this video has sufficed for you guys, and until then, go Bucs!